Good morning. I'm Gary Pustejovsky here at BWI in Schulenburg, and this morning I'd like to go over with y'all a little bit about lot control, the lot control testing schedule report. Every Monday morning I get this report ran. It's ran for me automatically. Some branches may have to run it themselves, and I will show you that here in a minute. But what it is a report on all the lot numbers out in the warehouse on the field seed. The first is the item number. The next is the lot number, and test date, expiration date, receive date, and so on. I guess we'll start with items that I look at on a weekly basis. When I get this report, like on Monday morning, I'll come in and I'll look, is anything out of the ordinary at the top of the page? Say maybe a missing test date. If so, I will get it corrected. And I'll show you that here in a minute. There's also times when you'll come and you'll look down the test date deal. If you ever see an item that has the day of the month different, like you see the 11/17 here, 11/21, it's not 01, it should always be 01. The day should be 01. The reason for that being is, you see here the FS 106, FSN 106, FSN 108, they should be up at the top up here with the FSN 102, and it would keep it in order. So by throwing in this 17 and this 21, it threw these items to the bottom of the list of November. So if you'll go in the computer and change these to 01, you will now have them in order at the top. So let's do that. The screen to do that is 53912. You simply put in your item number that you want to change, FSN 106. The lot number is ADH. Hit enter, and it brings up that 11/17/14 test date. Let's change it. Let's put 01 here. Hit enter, and it's done. Let's see what it did. To check it, 53915. Go back in, enter, and it should be up at the top, right behind the FSN 102. Page down, and there it is, FSN 106 at the top of the page. The previous was FSN 102. Now it's behind the, so it's in order now. It was down here with the FSN 108. Now it's up at the top. What it does is it keeps your item numbers numerically in order. By keeping 01 on the test date, it keeps it in order. Every one of your test dates should always be the month, the first day of the year, and the year itself, 2014, 2015, whatever it be. Okay, that being said, we fixed that problem. Sometimes you'll see at the top of your page, maybe you'll come in on a Monday morning and you'll see an item or two with no test date. It's simply up to you to punch up this code, find out where it is in the warehouse, go out in the warehouse, check it. Check to see, verify the lot number is in fact this lot number, and what is the test date. You look at the tag says 6/2014. You can come back to the computer, punch it up again in 53912, just like I did a while ago. Item number, lot number, test date, put it in there. Now you've got it entered right in the computer. It's just a matter of doing that on a weekly basis. Every Monday morning I do that. I go through here to check for anything out of the ordinary that isn't right from the previous week. The next deal I like to talk about is the expiration date. You see on my paper here, I have no expiration dates on this page. We'll go to the next one. No expiration dates. No expiration dates. Occasionally you'll have one or two, or you may have a bunch of them. You should never have expiration dates on it. The only time you should ever have an expiration date on there is when your inventory on that specific item, whatever it be, the inventory went to 0. It's going to automatically put that Monday's date in there. Like this past Monday was June 8th. So if you see a June 8th, 2014, punch that item number up. When you punch it up, inventory says 0. It's up to you to go out there to the warehouse, find out where it's at, and see in fact if the inventory is 0. If it is, great. You don't need to do anything. It's going to automatically kick that lot number out because the expiration date is there. On the other hand, maybe your inventory is off and you have 5 bags of that lot number, or perhaps a different lot number, whatever the situation may be. you can accomplish two things. Now you can correct your inventory, and you can also go back into the computer and put in the item code 53912 again, the lot number, and take that expiration date out, delete it, because you don't want it in there because you actually have inventory on hand out in the warehouse. So now you've accomplished two things. You can get them back on inventory, and you fixed it in this report here. You've got a test date that's going to stay in there, or the lot number is going to stay in there because it didn't get deleted by the expiration date. The only other time, and the only person, as far as I'm concerned here in Schulenburg, the only person that should ever be putting expiration dates in this system is the seed coordinator. Whenever I get time to, or time comes around for me to retest items, and I get tests back on items, we retag it, we bring them up to date. Let's take, for instance, this FS2048X. This morning, I ran tags and printed tags for the new test that I received this past month. To do that, it's 53912 again, FS2048X item code. Lot number is NST4209. Enter. You'll see it as the 8/14 test date. My test came back. Actually, my test on this one came back last month already. It's on wheat. So I'm going to change it to a 5/01/2015. Enter. Let's check it. 53915. It should no longer be at the top of the page like you've seen here. 2048X was the 801. Now you can see up on the computer, it's gone. Where is it at? Scroll down all the way to your test dates of 5. There it is, 2048 NST4209 with a 5 test date. So every time I get ready to sample items and I get test results back, as soon as I retag them, I change the test date. That being said, again, that's the only time an expiration date should ever be put in there, is if the item is 0 on hand, or maybe I had another lot number of that 2048X, maybe a NST4208. I don't have any of that. All I had was NST4209. So now I will put today's date in there because I no longer have that lot number in there. I'll put today's date, and by next week, that expiration date can make that lot number disappear. The lot number will be gone because I no longer have it. That's the purpose of the expiration date, is to get rid of lot numbers you don't have, and you want to manually delete them, or inventory went to 0 and they delete themselves. But it is up to the seed coordinator to physically check any items here that has an expiration date. There's no need in putting a 10 or 11 or 12 2015 expiration date in there, because if you do, what happens when this item goes to 0 on hand and you have a 10/15 expiration date? That lot number is never going to disappear until October of 2015. Your inventory is 0, but it's still on your paper here because you have an expiration date there. You do not need an expiration date there at all, unless you're deleting items purposely because you don't have that lot number, or inventory went to 0. One more thing I'd like to add to the expiration date. If it is an expiration date, and if, say, receiving accidentally put an expiration date in there, say today's date, that seed just came in out there in the warehouse, they put it in correctly, put a test date in, but they also put an expiration date. Well, now by next week, that lot number is going to get knocked out because they put that date in there. So if that happens, just by checking this report, you'll see it. You can again check it, and if it is out there in a warehouse, you want to leave it, you take that expiration date out. Sometimes these things happen. The other thing I was going to add too is, you can see on the top of my report here, the first one is an 801 test date. This morning, when I ran this report, I noticed I had one up there at the top that's not 801, it's 601. That means day shift receiving possibly made a mistake, and they received it, or it could be right, and if it is, of course, 601 2014 is out of date seed. So one of two things happened. Either this seed is out of date, or they possibly put 2014 when they should have been 2015. So I recognize that as something different about my report than what's on there now, new. So I will go out there physically and check this item to see exactly what is the test date, make sure lot number is right, and if it is 2015, I will change this to that. If it's 2014, we will have to take it off the shelf because that's the expired seed and get it retested. Thank you. Okay, one other thing I was going to mention also on this report, you will see that I do have a few 8s and a few 9s. As you all know, here in Texas, we have 9 months, and it starts with the next month of the test. The 8 here that you see, you would start with 9, counting. 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that means, and that's 9 months, that means at the end of May, these items with 8s on them ran out. But also keep in mind, there are some items here that are fall seed. We won't sell them till the fall of the year. I hold back a little bit on them to get a June test so that I know that June test will now take me all the way through the fall of the year and into the early spring because it's ryegrass or it's oats or whatever it is. But if you ever have a question about holding off on testing this, get with your warehouse manager, make sure that he knows that, hey, I'm holding off on these 2 items because we won't sell them till September or October. What would be the point of me getting a April test or February test when it played out when we won't sell it till fall of the year? So occasionally you'll have this, but again, get with your warehouse manager to verify that it is okay that you hold off on testing. Thank you. Good morning. This is Gary in Schulenburg again. This morning I was going to talk to you a little bit about the lot testing schedule report that I get every Monday. It's ran out for me automatically, but some branches may not get it. In case you don't, here's how you would run this report. On your computer screen is 53915. Enter. It should bring up, when you punch that in, it should bring up your warehouse. Hit enter again, and there it is. This is my report. This is the same as this right here. It gives you an idea of what you have out in the warehouse. Item number, lot number, test date. Without these test dates in here, you have no idea of what needs to be tested. Is it old? Is it new? Is it even out there? You may have items out in your warehouse with lot numbers like these that aren't even in the warehouse. If they are, you need to get them out of there, delete them. If they are out there, what is the test date on them? Are they out of date? Are they okay? The only way to check that is to physically punch these codes up, go out in the warehouse and check them and get test dates entered into the computer so that you can control a testing or have a testing schedule of when you need to sample items, when you don't, on a weekly, monthly basis. Mine I check weekly. I check over this weekly. Monthly, I go through the months that are going to be out, the 8s, the 9s, the 10s. 3 months I'll go through and I'll pull samples, send samples, maybe do call tags. You can see up here, this is a Lebanon seaboard sheet that I use to check all my Lebanon seed to get call tags. Okay, here we are. I brought up another company that we have. Same screen, 53915, the lot controlled, and you can see here item number, lot number, but no test dates. And you see a few expiration dates. Okay, all of these items here with these lot numbers, and that's the first page. Here's another page, another page, another page, another page, another page of items with no test dates. There's no way that you can go out and know if this lot number even exists, and if it does, what is the test date. So all of these items will need to be checked by physically punching up the code, going out to the location, and checking if you have this lot number, 13EZ12. Start with the top one. If you do not have it, you simply come in, you'll write it down on your report, you'll come in to the computer, and you'll put an expiration date, usually today's date, or whatever day you're doing it. Well, Let's go to the other screen, the 53912. I'll just flip screens here and bring up that first item code, which is FSDAIKON 50. And the lot number I needed was 13EZ12. Type in 13EZ12, hit enter. It brings it up, it has no test date. So if you do have this item out in the warehouse and it does have that lot number, you went out there physically looked, it had a 6/14 test date, you would come down the screen, you would give it a 06/01/2014 test date, and there you go. On the other hand, if you didn't have this out in the warehouse and this lot number was not out there, give it an expiration date instead, because you no longer have it in the warehouse and you want to get it off your screen. So to type in today's date, which would be 06/10/2015. Today's date is 6/10/2015. Hit enter, and now it's in there. Let's see if we put that expiration date in there. 53915. Hit enter. Enter again. There it is. I've now put in a 6/10 expiration date because we no longer have this lot number of this item out in the warehouse. So that after 1 week, next week, this item will be wiped out of the system. You can go individually by each item just by punching up the code, going out to the warehouse to see if you have it, mark it up. If you do or you don't, if you do, give it a test date. If you don't, give it an expiration date. That's how you clean up your lot control in your warehouse. Thank you. Here we are again. Here's an example of another company that has, you know, the same type of stuff, item number, lot number, but again, no test dates. The top one you see has an expiration date of 9/01/2015, but no test date. So how do you know how old this product is? It's that page, the next page, a lot of no test dates. All of this needs to be checked to find out, is that lot number out there? What is the test date? And get it entered. As we go scroll farther, a little farther down, you can start seeing some expiration dates more and more. Here's a whole bunch of expiration dates. All this FS101 here all has an expiration date of 7/01/2015. So that means when July 1st comes around, all of these lot numbers will be wiped out of the system because that day came. What happens if these lot numbers or a couple of these lot numbers are still out there on the floor? Now you no longer know that they're out there because they're wiped out of the system. You will have to go back out there, manually put them back again. Again, there should be no expiration date in this system unless inventory goes to 0 or you manually type in an expiration date for that day because you know that this lot number no longer exists. All of these expiration dates need to be removed unless you know for sure that they're no longer in the warehouse. Thank you. Okay, here's another item I ran across a while ago, just looking at this lot number on this wildlife mix, FSWLM. The lot number you can see here is BWTF0214. If you go a little bit farther down, here it is again. Well, no, it's not. It's not FT, it's TF. So that could possibly be a typo on somebody's part, whether it was receiving or whoever put this lot number in. If you see anything like that, you may want to go back out there and check to make sure that you've got the right one in. It's either TF or FT. Whichever one it is, you'll put a test date in, have that one stay in the system. The other one that's not out there on the floor, you can put in an expiration date and get it out of your system so it's gone because it's actually not out there on the floor anyway. Okay, here we are again. I pull up another company here, and just looking at the very first page up here, what I see right off the top is the wrong year. We all know it ain't 10/15, it's 2015. So if you're checking your lot control on a weekly base, you know, like I do, you'll see that that's wrong. That shouldn't be there. That's probably going to be 2015. It also has got an expiration date of October 2015, which again, should not be any expiration dates in there again, unless you put it in there because you no longer have the lot number or because inventory went to 0 and you want to get rid of that lot number. So two things are wrong with this top item. Wrong year, and it's got a 10/01/2015 expiration date. Both of those need to be fixed. The other ones next to it, 6/01, that lot number is going to get kicked out because it's already past 6/01. So if this lot number, the second one here, is in the system yet, which it is in the system. If it's out there on the floor, it's going to get knocked out because 601 is already passed. 608 is already passed. 601, 608, 601, these next week should be knocked out of the system. So if they're out there on the floor, then they'll no longer be in the system. Okay, the other thing I noticed on this page too is the test dates. All of these start with January of 14, then we get into February, March, April. These are all items that are out of date. If they're out there on the floor, they're out of date. They either weren't updated, maybe when the retesting process happened, maybe they didn't get re-entered into the computer with a new test date, or hopefully they're not even out there on the floor anymore and they just need to be deleted and cleaned up. But you can see here you've got January 14, February 14, March, April. The next page is a few more Aprils, May, June, July. All of these are lot numbers and test dates of items that are actually out of date. You need to find out if you in fact still have them, and if you don't, delete them, or if you do, get a new test or update it in the computer if you've already got a test on it. You know, the latest you should have again is probably an 8 or a 9. You know, if your system was cleaned up and you had everything, the oldest you should see on the very first page should be an 8 or 9, not 4s and 5s and 1s. And once you get it cleaned up to that, it's real easy to maintain. It's something that just takes a little bit of time every day just to look at. It won't be overwhelming if you keep your lot control updated every week. Okay, here's another example of a company that looks to be keeping up with their lot number control. You can see the oldest, this is the very first page, I just punched it up. The oldest thing they have is a November test date of 2014, which is really good. You know, I mean, so you scroll down, you don't see any expiration dates on this. That means they've worked the system, they've checked stuff out. We'll scroll down, there's all test dates again, no expiration dates. Another page, everything looks, well, here's one that he's got, 608, which would be this past Monday's test date. Just looking at it, it looks like the L20 that maybe receiving or somebody might have put in a wrong lot number, I'm sorry, wrong lot number. It probably should be L20 with all these other numbers, but it's got L20. And so the seed coordinator probably realized that, maybe went out and checked it also out on the floor and seen that there is actually no L20 lot number. So what he did was put a 608 2015 test date that's going to wipe that lot number out because it's not out there on the floor. As you scroll down, you see some more. Here's another one with the expiration date 608 2015. Item code there is SI 18354. Let's punch that up. SI 18354. None on hand. So what probably happened here is either the system did its job like it's supposed to do. When inventory goes to 0, it automatically puts a Monday, that week's test expiration date in it, and it's going to wipe out that lot number because inventory is 0. Or possibly the seed coordinator went there and seen that 0's on hand, 0's on the shelf, and he put it in. Most likely the system did that one since inventory's at 0. And as you go through, you see all these 608 test dates on these items. Again, one of those two things happened. Seed coordinator put it in because it's not there, or either inventory went to 0. That's why I wiped that lot number out and that item number out. That's the only reason the expiration date should be used at all times. Otherwise, there should be no expiration dates there. And you can see here, as I'm flipping it, there's none. So this company here has done a good job of keeping up with their lot control system. Thank you. Okay, here's I'll pull up another company here that has, again, in the lot control, item numbers, lot numbers, no test dates at all on the very first page, second page, third page, fourth page, no test dates at all. So this particular company is not at all using the lot control the way it was designed to be used. And again, the way it was designed to be used is for receiving to receive items, put in the lot number, put in a test date, so that I, as a seed coordinator, can keep up with what's in date and what's out of date. You can see here, I've got at the top of my list for this month, I'll be looking at items that Well, actually, I looked at items for the month of August last month. I'm waiting on seed labels. September, I will be checking on these. A couple of them I've got tests on. So these, 4 or 5 items that I have here are my focus attention. Those items only. The rest of them on this page that have 11 test dates, 12, the rest of these are all good. I don't need to look at anything else other than the top of the list to find out what I need to check on, what I need to get tags on, what I need to do with this whole deal. Without putting any test dates in here, you cannot use this system at all. It cannot work for you. To fix this company would have to go out and get a list of all the lot numbers and test dates that he has and manually put them in and to get caught up in this system. And it would take a pretty good while, but once you catch up with it, I'm telling you, it's really easy to keep up with. Okay. All right, just to sum it all up, again, this report works great. For me, it's the best thing that's ever happened to me here at BWI. It just takes, every Monday morning I come in, it just takes me a few minutes to look at the top of the page to see if I've got anything out of the ordinary, anything that maybe got entered last week or whatever wrong, or something new came in with an old test date. Real quickly, just in minutes, I can tell. If not, everything's good, I set it down. I'll pick out one day every month that I'll actually look and say, hey, I need to look at these 3 items here because they've got a 9 or 10, 1014 test date or whatever it be. If I still got that lot number out there on the floor when I go check, I'll pull a sample or get some tags coming my way in the mail, whatever it takes to get it done. I know that I need to get those tags on the way or get a sample pulled. That's one day a month that I do that. So this report helps me tremendously. If I had to do an audit every month on all the seed that I got out here and didn't have this, I'd have no idea of what's out there or what I need to check on. I'd have to do a full report, which would take days and days to go through and audit the whole warehouse of seed. So this report eliminates all of that. Like I say, it's minutes every Monday morning that I check it, and it's one day a month that I actually pull samples and get tags coming my way. And to get all this going, it's just a matter of getting what you're receiving, guys. Make sure they understand the importance of getting the item number right, lot number right, and the test date right. No expiration date. You only need those 3 things. Let your receiving guys know, I need the lot number to be correct, I need the test date to be correct. If they do their job putting it in, and then you do your job getting it updated, and it's going to take a little while to get things updated, I know. There's some companies out there that need test date. It's going to take a little while, but if you do a page a day and go out in the warehouse and visually look at the seed that you've got, and if you don't have that lot number, put an expiration date in it to get rid of it. If you do have it, put the correct date in it. Maybe the date that's in there is wrong. If you do that, if you do a page of this per day, you can get all this taken care of to where all these items will have test dates and everything will be on track. Once you've done that, you'll see, like I've seen, it's really easy to maintain once you get it where it needs to be. Okay, good afternoon. Another thing we do here at BWI every year, late spring, early summer, you might say, we go through the warehouse, of course, and we check the large quantities and stuff like John Michael just showed you the FS 144 on this road that we have stacked up. We go through, and the day shift supervisor, Donnie, has a guy designated to pull down X amount of pallets per day. Say if we got 15 guys restacking seed, he'll pull down 30 pallets. Each guy every morning comes in and stacks 2 pallets of seed, restacks them, gets the damages out, goes through them, turns the tags to the outside, rips the old labels off. The guy that pulls the seed down that evening, as he's pulling it down, he also writes down the lot numbers for me. Like, on this FS 144, it may be 4 or 5 different lot numbers, it may be 1 or 2, but whatever he has, he writes down on a piece of paper for me how many bags of each lot number I have. So that evening when he hands me that list, I take that list and I go and I'll go back and get me a label of each lot number that he pulled down, and I know that I need to print maybe 500 tags of one lot number, 500 of whatever I have, and that way the tags are printed that evening before, so the next morning when the guys come in, they get their pallets, everybody takes 2 pallets, they restack it, I go out and I pass out labels to the guys, whatever lot number they have, they pick their labels that they need. Normally I'll pass them out, I'll give them whatever lot number they have to relabel their pallet. In the meantime, I also pull samples on this, and I guess you're wondering, well, how do you create new labels when you're first pulling the sample? Well, we relabel them, and I put a 5 or 6 test date on there, knowing that I'm fixing to send this sample off and it's early May. I'm going to send it off. It's going to come back in the month of May, so I'm going to put a May test date. We get to the end of May, I'll hold those samples to the last week in May, and the stuff that we stack toward the end of May, I will hold that sample to the end of May and send it, and I'll put a 6/15 test date, knowing that the results of that particular lot number will come back in June. So it's just a matter of coordinating your lot numbers with the timing of the month. The early part of the month you can put that month, the latter part of the month you need to put the next month. And that's a good way to pull down your seed, get it restacked, get it relabeled, get everything done like you can see here. The rewrapping of the pallet, everything's ready to go, so when fall of the year comes, all of this is done. Then the only other thing you might need to, or you do need to check when you get your results back in, hopefully everything was good. Normally oats and ryegrass is going to hold its germ, for 1 year at least. So I'm pretty comfortable with tagging everything on ryegrass like 90%, oats on 85%. Very seldom, maybe once or twice, that it happened that the germination was below what I did. In that case, it's going to have to be redone, but it very seldom happens. And that's kind of what we do here on sampling and relabeling seed here at BWI in Schulenburg. Thank you. You can also see here these pallets on overflow. The bottom bag has a pallet tag on it. In addition to that pallet tag is also a lot number tag that we print. Here at BWI in Schulenburg, we separate lot numbers by pallet. In other words, there's only one lot number on every pallet that you see here. So we print a pallet tag, and we also print that little lot number tag, which makes it easy for night shift when they're shipping this pallet. Rather than typing in the lot number, all they have to do is scan that little tag. They scan that small tag, and it gives them the lot number pops up for them automatically into the system. Therefore, they don't have to type it in. Again, I know it's a lot to get back to where it was, to get it looking like it should look so it works for you. But if you do a page a day, like I said earlier, do a page a day, and you may need to get with your warehouse manager to tell him, hey, could I have a little more time to get this taken care of, these lot numbers and this stuff. I know that if within a month or less, I can have this whole report straightened out just by doing a page a day, straighten it out, and I can use this report to work to my advantage here in the seed department to make my job and make the seed department a whole lot better and the way it should be, which is 100% correct. Thank you.